Hello, my name is Charlie Drake and I wish to speak of the following items, outlining the start of my dementia before the diagnosis, help and cooperation from the North Cork Alliance team in Mallow, things that I have learned and put into practice that have helped me cope with everyday life, the importance of attending with Alzheimer's cafes and the days out. The first time I realised there was something wrong with me was back in late 2018, as far as I can remember. I was driving to visit a very close and lifelong friend who was terminally ill at Mallow Hospital. All of a sudden, I felt completely lost. I didn't have a clue where I was, who I was, or where I was going or coming from. I pulled in to the hard shoulder, switched off the engine, sat there and closed my eyes. A total blank feeling, and it lasted several minutes. I don't know for how long. My head started to clear after a little while, and I saw the phone beside me on the seat, but I couldn't remember who I wanted to ring or the number. I told myself not to panic, and I waited for a few more minutes. Then I remembered, and I phoned Ellen, who was my wife, asked her where I was supposed to be going. She thought I was in the pub and had drink taken. I tried to explain as best I could, and of course, trying to explain, all of a sudden, everything became crystal clear and away I went. Everything was okay for a few months. Then I went with Ellen and my sister to the Crescent Shopping Centre in Limerick. Everything was absolutely perfect. I was driving away and engaging in conversations. We got to the centre. I went in, bought the paper, came back out to the car and read it. Decided I would have a cup of coffee and everything was fine. Then it hit me just like you would turn a switch. I started to feel lightheaded and something was going wrong in my head. I hadn't a clue what was happening to me. I reached the seat and sat down. Again, I didn't have a clue where I was, who I was, or where I was, or where I was going to or coming from. I started to shake a little bit and got very agitated and started looking around me and got very, very frightened. I didn't know or realise this was happening to me, but a lovely young girl saw what was happening and came to my rescue, for which I am obviously very grateful to her for doing that. And she stayed with me talking and encouraged me to stay calm and try to remember what I was doing up to that time. Then it started to clear and I started to remember where the car was and who I was with. I found Ellen and was very glad that young girl had stayed with me. Ellen noticed something was wrong and I was very pale and looked a little bit dazed and frightened. I don't have to tell you, I was ordered to go to my GP the next day and further ordered to go and see a specialist by my GP. I am very grateful to that GP for the early detection. I was referred to by my specialist to the Memory Resource Room at Mallow Primary Healthcare Centre. It's one of 23 memory technology resource rooms, a free national service providing practical information and advice on assistive technologies as well as support strategies to help people at different stages of dementia and memory loss. I recall thinking this was the end when I first heard the diagnosis. I was really very, very scared and confused. Help and cooperation from what used to be the Crystal Project, but its new idea is North Cork Dementia Alliance. As I have stated, I was referred to the Memory Resource Room at the Primary Healthcare Centre in October 2019 for a 6-week course on how to organise and cope with dementia. That was the first time I met with Sheena Kedu. Sheena is the occupational therapist, Crystal Project lead in the Cork Kerry Community Healthcare Service Executive in Memory Resource Room in Mallow. After 2 weeks into the 6-week course, I knew then this was not going to beat me. What that girl did for me was something of a miracle. My God, I'll tell you, I came out of that 6-week course feeling 10 feet tall. My outlook completely changed ready to face the world and look it straight in the eye. What a girl and what a person. What an exceptional occupational therapist Sheena Kedu is. The massive fear factor was gone, the autopilot switched off, and I was ready to face everything and anything. Accept what I had, face it without fear. While I couldn't be cured, I could learn to live with it, prolong and stabilise the condition. I would strongly advise everyone experiencing any symptoms of memory loss or even any sort of body coordination malfunctions, please go to your GP and ask for a checkup, because the earlier it is diagnosed, the better it will get to be stabilised. All I can say is, thanks be to God for Sheena Kedu and her team. The first thing I will say on this is, I am extremely lucky to have a wife like Ellen, because I know without her I will greatly struggle. Support for people with dementia or any form of disability is so important from within the family and friends. With the best will in the world, professional people can only do so much. It is when a person with dementia starts to get confused, agitated and frustrated, that's where the home caring comes into play. As I have stated, I'm very lucky to have Ellen, because she has attended every meeting, every course, memory, Alzheimer's cafes and social days out with me and the group. She knows instantly what to do with me when things get on top of me. Ellen will sit me down, calm me down and reassure me that everything will be okay. She has learned so much from Sheena Kedu and her team. I would sincerely encourage every family member to attend as many group functions as is humanly possible, so as to be able to cope with all the different mood swings and difficulties that the person with dementia encounter every day, and every day can be different. Learning to cope with dementia can be extremely useful, both for the person with it and the carer. But I would stress the following: there is no point in attending all the courses, cafes, social outings, memory training courses, classes, singing for the brain and all the other helplines that are available and so professionally administered, unless you're prepared to listen and take the advice and help being offered and put all into practice. Take as many positives from every event. That is how I live with dementia every day. Many people associate dementia with memory loss, but it's only one of the symptoms patients can present with. This is why one person's dementia can be so different to another's. By attending the first of the 6-week courses with Sheena Kedu, that is where I learned to cope with dementia. The first thing I learned is to make sure I don't have the autopilot on. I've learned to say aloud what I'm going to do, like I'm going to boil an egg, I'm going to come back in 4 minutes and switch off the cooker. Keeping prompting myself like that helps a lot. When I'm in the kitchen getting the breakfast, you would think there was 10 people in the kitchen with me, because I am telling myself aloud what to do. I haven't burned the saucepan since. And there are tricks like 1944, the year I was born, don't forget to lock the door, and many more tips like that. Another very important tip is when you meet somebody you may not have seen for a while, or else you as late as yesterday and can't remember the name. Don't be afraid to say, I can't remember your name. I have been diagnosed with dementia. That will give you the confidence to continue with the conversation and I will also help the other person to understand. The other important advice we received from Sheena was always have a small notebook and a pen handy. Write down what you want to remember. Of course, the best advice of all, and still is, to keep active, healthy and fit. Plenty of exercise, most important, walking every day. The importance of eating the correct food for the health of the brain. During the 6 weeks course, we have been given lectures and advice on how on the correct food that is good for the health of our brain. All of the above were and are so instrumental in the quality of our daily lives. That's what I have learned and put into practice, so thanks to Sheena Kidoo. The North Cork Dementia Alliance is based in the Memory Resource Room in Mallow Primary Healthcare Centre. They offer support and the following services. Meet an occupational therapist in the Memory Resource Room for practical advice, information and support. Attend the Singing for the Brain, a weekly singing group. Attend a 6 weeks information support memory group. Avail of their counselling services. Attend a monthly Alzheimer's cafe. Attend their monthly social outings. Be added to their mailing list to receive ongoing information on all the services and events by text or email. Believe me, all of the above take a hell of a lot of time, resources and organising, even in normal circumstances. But when it has to be done with a skeleton staff and a shoestring budget, well then it becomes a big strain on the physical, mental and financial well-being of the administering staff of the organisation. My appeal today to the powers that be is to put every bit of muscle power that is humanly possible into the effort of acquiring as much funding as is possible from the HSE. Politicians of all parties and none should be lobbied night and day for the next few weeks. Local elections in Ireland are held every 5 years. The next election will be held in May or June 2023. Everyone aged 18 or more on polling day is entitled to vote. Voters elect the councillors to represent them in their local authority. There are 31 local authorities in Ireland. Each local authority is either a county, a city, or a city and county council. Polling day is the same in all parts of the country. The Minister for Housing and Local Government and Heritage makes the order setting the polling date. Those elections will be followed by a general election sooner rather than later. While the local elections have nothing to do with HSE funding, the people are still elected our local representatives, and we want them to put as much pressure as possible, and even more so, on their local TDs on our behalf, and they in turn put pressure on the department to release more fundings to the Engaging Dementia, the Alzheimer's Society of Ireland and associated groups like the North Cork Dementia Alliance, building confidence and connections. I have always been advised and encouraged to stay active. Since I enrolled in the first of the 6-week course in Mallow with Sheena Kidoo, I find I am at my best when active, when I'm actively doing something, and particularly if I'm enjoying it. When I relax or get lazy, my mind starts playing tricks with me. Unfortunately, COVID-19 put a big damper in all our lives and deprived us all of services organised of the Crystal Lead Dementia Project team. When COVID restrictions lifted, that team hit the ground running and haven't stopped since. Some of the range of topics organised by Sheena and Margaret McEntee, along with the assistance of others, to keep us going and stay fit and healthy are as follows. An overview of dementia, relationship changes, communications, legal issues, understanding behaviour and engaging in activities. Safety in the home, looking after yourselves properly, assessing information and support, personal care, nutrition and eating well. I have already covered most of the above topics, so I'm going to dwell a little on the benefits of engaging activities. Very important and highly recommended. Up to the point of my diagnosis, I was extremely active, having chaired, founded and participated in many organisations, GAA, political party activities, active retirement, community alert, text alert, the acquisition and instalment of rapid response alarm systems for the elderly, organising coach tours all over Ireland and many other such activities. When I was diagnosed, all of that stopped. Well, sorry, not all. I had retired from some. As you can see, I was very active. When I learned I had dementia, it really knocked me for six. I had lost all interest until I started attending the Crystal Lead Dementia courses and meeting with both Sheena and Margaret. Now, I really want to stress and emphasise, I am not writing or speaking about this for any self-glorification or special mention. I just want to highlight the importance of being active. I am most indebted to Sheena and Margaret for the way they have restored my confidence and got me motivated again to get me back involved in different projects. In 2020, I was asked to join a group of like-minded people with a view to forming a committee to commemorate the centenary of the Clonbannon ambush. This particular ambush played a major role in the War of Independence and deserved to be commemorated to the best of our ability. The committee was formed and proved a very well accepted and respected project, resulting in a book being published named The Clonbannon Ambush Centenary 1920-1921, a Cork Kerry Victory, which I was actively involved in the researching, compiling the history and was co-author of that book. The success of that book and the centenary commemorations led to a lot of pressure requesting the production of a documentary relating to the ambush. That request was taken on board, completed and launched on the 10th of October 2022. Just like the book, it had a huge success and have been sent to several countries and continents. Wherever there is an Irish connection, copies of the DVD have been sent, just like the book. On the 27th of April this year, 2023, the committee are invited to go to Áras an Uachtaráin to present to Michael D. Higgins and Sabina Higgins with a copy of our book and the documentary. I am extremely honoured, privileged and excited to be accompanying my fellow members of the committee to be making that presentation. It's going to be a very historical occasion for us. It is going to be a huge honour for me personally as director of that documentary, along with the producers, Sheila and Mike of the Old Road Studios, Ballydesmond, County Cork, and all that had any part to play in that production. Again, I really want to stress and emphasise I am not writing or speaking about this or any other aspect of this article for any self-glorification or special attention. I just want to highlight the importance of being active and the way the group have restored my confidence and got me motivated again. There's a lot of people I would like to say thank you to, but too numerous to mention. But there are three very special ladies that have made my life so good and restored my confidence. To those three ladies, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you to my wife Ellen, Sheena Kidoo and Margaret McEntee. Without those three people in my life, I'm not sure where I would be right now. I do know that I can categorically state that with great confidence, so thank you. Thanks also to Kimberly and Graham for recording my message. Thank you again.